just recording the session here now. Right, so the recording is on. Yeah, so even when we get a signal, we should buy this or sell this. We should not just go to our MetaTrader and just hit the currency and hit buy or sell, but we could try and do our own analysis too, to try to determine why we were buying and why we were selling. And this is how you develop, this is how you gain the practice in doing this. So as much as it is done, but there are some basic things, and I would have discussed that with Mr. Jack too, even if in sending all the trades here, some of the, or should I say, the fundamentals of even getting on the platform and actually trading, because it is very important that we understand when it comes to risk management, and even apart from risk management, also knowing our levels. Because you'd have realized for the past 2 or the past 3 weeks, I could say maybe about 95% of the trades have been successful trades. And person would realize, here's what, we'd have gotten 30 trades and 29 of them would have hit TP. You know what I'm doing for the next week when the trades come now? I'm not going at 10 cents or 20 cents. I can go maybe at $1 and I can go bigger, because now I know I can make more, but the trades are much more successful. And this is what we are trying to avoid here in that year. The whole process of trading, it's a gradual growth and development, because yes, we have to understand we are going to take from the market, but believe it or not, the market is going to take from us. And even if we start going small and we're making small, if the market has to take back, it is going to take back small. But if we start going big, when the market decides to take back, the market is also going to take back big. So we have to understand how we manage our risk and how we do that. But also, more importantly here is understanding our account and what the leverage on the account affords us. So even when we open the account, most persons may not have even taken note as to the kind of account that they would have done, maybe a 1 to 500 or 1 to 1,000 ratio when the account was opened up. The brokers have total control over the account or over what happens. Total control meaning, don't get me wrong, in that based on the trades you have and the volume, your margin, what it is here, the brokers can close you off even without you having to close up. That's what I mean when I say they have total control. So even in trading, we have to be very mindful, not just about the size of the lots that we do, but we have to be mindful of our percentage and how much trades our account can afford us. So again, even before we look at the margin and we look at those things here, what we need to understand is whenever we get into a trade, it doesn't matter the size of the lot that we choose. Whatever the percentage or whatever the spread is, it's equivalent. So for example, if I decide I'm going to do 0.1, the 0.1 I'm going to do is equivalent to me doing 5 0.02. It therefore means that if I get 10 pips on the 0.1, it is going to be the same money I'm going to make as if I would have done 5 on the 0.02. The spread is going to be the same. Whatever the broker gets for his or her share would still be the same. But however, what happens here technically with the 5.0 or the 5.02 as equivalent to the 0.01, a lot of difference is there. The margin error, not margin error, but the margin percentage, the margin level. So if I have to take a trade and I decide, okay, I want to do 0.01, I would prefer I do 5.02 to make up the 0.1. Why? In the event that the trade decides to go the opposite way. So let's suppose I'm selling. So I sold and I expect the market to go down, and for some reason the market decides to pull up. And I have 5 trades running at 0.02, which is equivalent to 1 trade at 0.10, right? It therefore means if it's going into negative, I can now close maybe 2 trades and see, okay, hopefully that other 3 trades I have opened might be in a position to pull me through in the event the market would have changed direction. But if we would have done 1 big trade at 0.10, it therefore means when the market starts going negative, we have no option, but we just close up that one trade and we would have lost everything we would have invested on that one trade. So it makes a lot more sense doing multiple smaller trades than doing one big lot. Again, the reason behind this is that if it starts going negative, we can close off 2 or 3 of the small trades and still hope that we have 1 or 2 running that can help us recover that loss that we would have made. That's one of it here. I grew particularly concerned earlier in the week when we would have had a lot of trades being given off. And persons, I know we all want to make money, so persons are just going to be taking trades. Even though you're doing at 0.01, persons have been taking multiple trades. The thing about taking multiple trades here, what we have to look at also, we have to look at our margin level. The margin level tells us the allocation that the broker has for us in our account. So if you have an account, let's say with 100 US, you might be able to take 2 or 3 trades at 0.01, but your margin level, every time you take a trade, the broker set aside a percentage of your account for each individual trade that you take. And every time you go into a trade, the margin level is going to go down. So if you look at my screen here, I'm on on a demo account here, you can see that the margin level is $38,990 because there is quite a lot, almost $80,000 on that account here. So the margin level is higher. But every time I take a trade, that margin level is going to go down. So if my account which I would have set up is a 1 to 500, it means that whenever my margin level goes down to 500, I'm trading on dangerous ground. And dangerous ground here meaning the brokers can close off my trades. And here's what, it doesn't mean that you have to be in negative for this to happen. So the thing about it, you have 2 things that you pay attention to. 1, you have the balance, and 2, you have equity. So the balance means the amount of money you have on the account. The equity means the money on the account plus or minus the value of the trades you have inside. So your equity could be more or less than your balance. If you are in negative in trades, your equity is going to be less than your balance. If you are positive, your equity is going to be more than your balance. The thing about it, you may have, let's say you have 5 trades open running and your balance on the account is 100 US. And in that 5 trades, each of them has $100 on it. So that means you have $500 profit. Your balance is still going to be 100. So you should not, and that $100 account cannot accommodate or facilitate another trade, even though you have $500 profit. Why? Because your balance is still 100. And your balance is only updated when you close off a trade, because you can be in $500 profit and the market can reverse and you can lose and you can go in loss. So when the trades are sent out and you take those trades and those trades are successful, you have to be mindful of your margin, because on a $100 account, having 5 trades open at 500, I don't even believe your account can support that, because your margin is going to go way down low. Because every time you enter a trade, the broker, the system is designed to allocate a percentage of your account in the event the trade goes in the negative fashion. And once it starts going negative, the broker is going to close off the trade with the highest risk on it, even if it is positive. And I've seen it happen right before my eyes. Here, with a small account that was running up to 1,600 plus in positive trades, meaning profit running up to 1,600, and all the trades closed off. So it's not an issue with being in a loss, but because the margin percentage was exceeded, the system is designed to close off the highest probability trades. So imagine I have a $100 account running and I have 5 trades at 100, and another trade comes on the chart. What you're supposed to do is close off some of your trades. So the trades that are in profit, you close them off so that the money on them could be added to your balance. So you have a balance of 100, you have an equity of 600, because your 5 trades running, they all have 100 on it. So that's the 500 plus the 100, but really and truly you only have 100. So to take an additional trade, you close off 2 of those trades. So now your balance goes up to 300. And now you have also $300 in trade. Then you realize I can take another trade. I can take maybe 3 more trades because I don't have 100 now. I have 300 on the account. So the more funds you have on the account, the more trades you can take. But you have to be mindful of the amount of trades and the margin level that you're trading at. There are times I'm trading, I may have 15, I may have sometimes even 20 trades running. But then I look at my margin and I realize, okay, the margin is going down, is going down. I would close up the trades that are in the most profit. So there are times you may see 10 trades being given, and you have to learn to say, here's what, 3 trades is what I can take. Let me take these 3 trades. And if you decide to take more trades, it means you will have to close off previous trades, because you may lose all the money you would have made in the trades simply because you're trying to get there. And this is why if when the trades are given, you look at the levels, the TP and the stop loss, and you realize, here's what, I have 4 trades running, but they haven't hit TP yet. And you look at what's going on, you pull the chart up and you realize, here's what, it's 5 people away from the TP. It may be $2 or $4 away from the TP. It makes sense closing that trade, forget the $4 extra for the TP, close that trade and maybe take a new trade, as opposed to losing all the money you have made because you have exceeded your margin level. So what you can do also, you can go to your back office on your trading platform. So let's suppose you're with IC Markets, you can log into IC Market, or let's say you're with Hot Forex, you can go to My HF area and you can check your account and see what the leverage is like on that account. And once you understand what the leverage is like on that account, it gives you a fair idea as to how much trades you can take and what size of trades you can take on a particular account size. Because as the trades go on, it is not just ticking and I see, okay, 5 trades that have been posted and I take this 5 and I'm waiting to see more trades. And as the trades come, I am taking the trades, I'm taking the trades. Eventually, it's just going to stomp you out and you're just going to lose all the money you have made. Again, it is not because you are in a profit means the brokers don't do that. What determines whether or not you can maintain a trade is the level of your margin level, the percentage level. And if your account is a 1 to 500 and your margin drops, yes, sometimes it goes down all the way to 450 thereabout, and they still allow you. But if it keeps going down lower, you are trading on dangerous ground, and all the money you would have made, the broker will just close off all those trades. And again, what you would have made on that trade, it wouldn't be added to your balance, because your balance is only updated when you close your trade manually or the trade hits its TP. So we may be looking at, in that case here, you see my balance here is 79,000 something here. My equity is 80,000 because I have $902 worth of trades inside. But really and truly, as far as the broker is concerned, I only have 79,000, because until I close this 902, then my balance is going to go up. So when we start taking trades and we start making money here, we can take 2, 3 trades, 4 trades based on the value or the lot size that we're taking one, but we still have to be very, very mindful of our margin level. Because when most of you would have created the account, or the account was created for you, at that time you didn't really know the structure of trading to pay any attention as to the margin level. As a matter of fact, I don't know what this margin level is about. All I know, I get my account, my live account, and I'm trading. But it's also important to know what your margin level is like. That tells you how much trade or how low a margin level you can go before the brokers actually close your trade for you. So some persons would have said, here's what, I blow my account. And based on the margin, based on the kind of account you set up, the broker can close you off and maybe leave you with a little something. But if you're based on the account again, the proportion you would have taken, the ratio of account you would have taken, it can reach to a point where your account goes right down to almost 0. And that's when you blow the account. So the margin level again helps protect your account in the event you don't know. So it's not just a matter I'm setting up an account and I just want the margin level, maybe 1 to 5, maybe 1 to 500 or 1 to 1,000, whatever. But if you do the little reading, when you set the account up, you would understand that some of the account leverage helps protect you. So in the event you go bad in a trade, it closes you off and keep money on your account and protect you in that fashion. But as the trades has been going for the week, and I realize that, Mr. Jackie has been spot on with the trades, and the success rate is growing with the trades. We are going to be tempted, every one of us, we are going to be tempted to start over leveraging, to start taking multiple trades. So I was going to try one, and I tried one, I tried two, and I realized two, okay, not, I'm taking three, and I'm taking four. And then we realized what's going to go on. Because at the end of the day, remember, as much as later on is going to be discussed what the success was like for the last week or the last 2 weeks, believe it or not, none of us would ever be able to constantly take from the market. The market is going to take back. And this is why whenever we employ proper risk management, whatever the market decides to take back wouldn't be something that's going to hurt us or hurt our account. Because it's really heartbreaking to see, okay, fine, I started with 100, and after the end of the week with all these trades, I got up to 400 or 500. And I know this week coming, here's what I'm going to run up to 0.03. And I'm going to take a few trades on it. So by the end of this week, I'm planning now to make twice what I made last week. And I'm planning to make that. And then you realize 1 or 2 trades that just the market decides it's just going against you. And you could lose all that you would have made for the past few weeks. So this is why we have to understand and always take it from the perspective, if I put this money in the bank, how much interest am I going to get? And again, as I tell, even this week I told a few persons who, are inquiring about signing up, this is not a get rich something. This is a discipline where you grow and you grow gradually. It's not an overnight something. Some persons take huge risk and then they get through for a while and you believe, okay, fine, I'm going. But believe it or not, every one of the traders, whoever traded and who is trading, would have their bad moments where the market decides to take. So you take risk now and you grow an account from 500 to 10,000, whatever in a month, you do that. And you're going and it decides, okay, that's what it is. The market is going to swing back, believe it or not. So this is why we always have to have the discipline, and the discipline tells, this is the account size I have, this is the size of trade I should take, this is the amount. And the margin level really is a guide. It guides you to know, here's what, I reach my limit as to the trades that I'm taking. So I have 5 trades, or I have 8 trades inside, and my margin level is running around 600%. I think I'm okay. So it doesn't matter how much more trades that have been sent, I am still going to just leave them, let it pass. If I decide I want to get these trades, if I decide I want to get these trades, I have to learn to close those trades. A very good comment here that made by Tyrone also.
Yeah, you want help by tomorrow to feel better. I'm going to give some hot water again before you go to bed.
And then at the end of it, we also have to ensure that we get in the market to make money, and that's what it is. We always want to make, but we have to learn, as much as we love the blue, and I see Sharon all the time saying she's having a blue day, a blue day, a blue day. It's good. We all want to have blue days, but there are going to be days when we have to learn to find comfort even when the red days come around. Because if we don't get used to the red and we don't embrace the red, we are going to lose faith sometime and we're going to be disappointed at times. So we have to trade with the mindset. Here's what, I'm getting into that trade. I look at my TP and my TP is $40 on that trade. Fine, I look at my stop loss and my stop loss might be $15. We should have the mindset, here's what, I'm comfortable with that $15. I may lose the $15, but I'm heading to make the $40. And we have to learn that losing is an integral part of it. And you are never a trader until you have lost. And this is why I made the comment earlier, when we're trading on our desktop or whatever, if it's our phone, whatever we're trading on, we should always have a note open. If you're on a phone, you have a note app, or if it's on your desktop or laptop or whatever here, you may have a notepad file open or Word file open. And all the things that we say we're going to correct, we should take a note of it. So whenever I lose a trade, if it hit my stop loss, I wouldn't enter a trade instantly. I wouldn't do revenge trading. I wouldn't enter that trade instantly. So we take a note of that. And every time before we trade, we review the do's and the don'ts. And this is going to help. And I can tell you, because I've been at this trading thing from when? Since 1990, how long? Till 2006. Since around 2005, 2006, I've been at this. And part of my failure would have been not taking notes or making the same mistake over and over. Why? Because when we sit to trade, we forget all the things that we said we weren't going to do. And if we write them down and we can reflect on them, it puts us in a better position to not make those mistakes. All right, so somebody's asking here, is there a set level that the margin should not go under? I remember a video saying something about not going under 100, if my memory serves me correct. Never let it drop under 100%. So here's what. We have, if you look at my screen here, we have the balance, we have the equity here, we have margin, we have free margin, and we have margin level. So the focus here is not on the free margin, but on the margin level. So when you do an account sign up, you have leverage on the account. So you have a 1 to 500, a 1 to 1,000. So different brokers allow you different leverage in here. And for most of us, most person would have an account maybe at a 1 to 500 here. Most person would really 1 to 500 on the micro account that they would have had. And it is always wise that when we look at our margin level, our total margin level, that's the one at the end here, we try to ensure that we keep this one above 500. So whatever amount you have on your account, it is going to go, is that margin, even before you trade, that margin is going to go up. But what happens is that every time you enter a trade, the broker, the platform allocates a certain percentage of your money for trade. So let's just say, hypothetically, I have $100 on the account. And a system is designed for every 0.01 trade I take, I'm going to do 10% of that amount. For every 0.05, I'm going to do 30%. So I took the first trade, it's going to take off 30%. It's going to secure 30% of my total account for that trade. So in the event I decide to, the trade decides to go in negative, it can handle up to that amount here. And successive trade, as you keep adding, that's how it does it. So it does a percentage. So it's not really a value to say, okay, I have $100 and every time I take a trade, I'm going to pull back 10 or pull back 50. No, it does it as a percentage. So this is why, even if you're in a profit or in a loss, this is really discipline. A lot of those things aren't really taught because, I mean, the average person would think, I have $100 in the account and I have 5 trades running at $500. Oh, I have money, I could keep taking trades. This is our mindset, but we don't understand the fundamentals and how the market is structured and the platforms are structured. The platform doesn't care if you're in a profit or in a loss because you are only making money when you close the trade and it goes in your balance. It doesn't consider your equity. And this is how a lot of people have seen it. I've seen it happen as recent as maybe 2 months ago. And there was a day we're trading here and I've seen an account with almost $1,700 in profit just close off. Why? Because the margin level fell below the amount and all that money never got to the account because the brokers would have closed it. So every trade that we take, a percentage is removed or percentage is reserved as our margin level. So this is why whenever we're trading and the trades, and I realize a lot of trades are being sent recently. And every time, so you take 2-3 trades and you realize that the margin level 800%, okay, 700%, we can work with that. And as we decide to take more trades, we should try to close off the trades with a higher profit on it. That gives us one, it gives us more in our balance. So it moves it from equity into balance, but also it frees up more margin space so that we can take additional trades. Because on a small account, an account 500 and account 1,000, we cannot take a lot of trades on it. That's why we advise, okay, you have $100, you take maybe 2 trades at least 0.01 or 3 trades. But what determines the amount of trades you take for you as a guide really is looking at your margin level. So all of the platforms, MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, or be the web platform you're using, whenever you enter trades, these are the numbers you pay particular attention to see what your margin level is. And also, so the free margin here, we have the free margin and you have the overall margin level. Because when, again, you enter a trade, the allocation in money, in quantity. So you have 2 things here. Your margin level shows you the money and the percentage shows you differently. So the percentage is different from the actual quantity of money that you have. So you know, here's what, I have a $50. I can still take a trade because I have that free percentage, that free money here, because I'm in a profit here. I still have that free money around here. So I'm looking at this here, but we have to be mindful even though we have free margin, what the brokers use or what they determine, what the software determines whether or not we can be kept in a trade or not is our margin level, that percentage wise, because when we would have set up the account, we would have made the selection for the account type and the account leverage that we have. So both of us may have $100 on the account and we have the same trades in at the same amount, and then you realize, here's what, we're going in a loss. My trade may close off before yours and leave me with $40 in the account, whereas yours may run you right down until and leave you with $1 in the account. Why? Because when we set the account up, we had taken different ratio of in doing the account. So those are things that we would have missed early in the setup because one, we weren't aware of it, and two, again, because when we set up an account, we just want to do what it takes so that we can get the account set up. It's just the same way you want to install an app. Nobody reads all the things inside here. If you don't agree, then you don't get the app installed. So we just agree because we want to get the app installed. So this is what I taught here, and I spoke with with Wallace here and tell him, here's what, now that trades are being given off, a lot of trades, and the success is really, really high on the trades, people might be more tempted to take a lot more trades. And since we decide to take a lot more trades, yeah, I see that question, we're gonna follow that. Since we decide to take a lot more trades, we have to understand the risk here with having all these trades open. So I'm seeing a question here. Let me see if I can just pull up, maybe even from Hot Forex. Let's just see something going from Hot Forex. Okay, let's just do a new tab. Yeah. Just see if I can just see that from the Hot Forex so we can see what that margin level is all about. Let's see if it's might be on the account type. Okay, so you could log into your back office. So for example, like here, it shows you the maximum leverage here. So if you log in and you can look at your account, you can see it on your account to see what it's like. I'm not sure if anybody, so again, here we have margin call. And what margin call is going to do, when you're getting to your margin level, that margin call here is going, okay, it's going to be activated. You're getting to your level, and this is what's going to stamp you out and close off those kinds of trade. Again, we have some of those things in here, maximum simultaneous orders and so you can log into your back office, and when you log into your back office, you will be able to see what's going on in the back office as to what your account looks like. All right, just top of my head, these are the numbers I mentioned a lot, 1 to 500, 1 to 1,000, because I've created hundreds of accounts for persons. So I know when I choose here, a lot of the times I would do maybe 1 to 500. I would choose that type of account because I know at the end, in the event that the trades go sour and it turns against you, it is going to close out, but leave you with more in your account than another one. Let's say maybe I want to 1,000 leverage. So there are brokers who vary those options that you have. Somebody was asking if we can change the margin. At the end of the day, yes, we have the option. I know we can do that with Hot Forex. We can change our account type. We can do that. However, I think this is not so important now. If we employ proper principle, here's what. I have 6 trades running, and I see 2 other trade ideas coming up. We have to learn to understand, here's what you miss in the market today, you can make it tomorrow. You never lose anything in the market. If you lose a trade, tomorrow is always there. So even if I have 3 trades open and I see 2 very good trades coming, I should have the discipline of saying, you know what, my 3 trades are running, let me just leave that and leave the others that are coming. I'm going to take it another time. However, if we do proper management, it's going to say, here's what, these other 2 trades might be more profitable than these trades that I'm in. So let me just close up this and take the profit, and then I'm going to get into the other trade. So if we learn the discipline, not just trying to get to a margin level that is going to afford us to do more trade, but we must have the discipline of saying, here's what, even if this doesn't hit TP, I think I'm going to close it. And this is why it is also very important that when the trades are given, we don't just get on our platform and just get into the trades right away. So for example, here the Euro USD, and they say, okay, let's do a sell now at that current rate, 1.12585. I shouldn't just go and just do a sell on it. Let me just see why they would have done that, why they would have said to get into it at that point here. And this is where they put the stop loss. But here's what, and this is where the TP is. You may realize there are times it takes a while to hit the TP. It may take a day, it may take 2 days or 3 days. But here's what, in between the 2 days or 3 days, some news would have come out or something would have happened. If we understand when we get into the trade, we can realize, you know what, this trade wouldn't hit the TP now. Let me just take what I have here now and let me get out of it here. And this is why we don't just take trades blindly. As soon as we get the trade, we just take it and then we just leave it and wait for the TP. We still have to monitor because there are time market condition changes and we may have to adjust. So like on Thursday when some of the trades were given, I had trades that were running and I saw the TP. And then I realized the way the market was going, the TP was a little bit close. I could have moved the TP 20 pips lower. And I moved the TPs in those trades and then because I understand how the market goes and how it works. So there are times, I mean, just for safety, we leave it at where it is. But if we know why and when we're getting into trades, we can know when to adjust and even when to get out of the trade before it would have hit our desired level. So it is very important. So don't even worry about what account you have and what leverage, what margin percentage you have. Just get to the discipline of knowing here's what. I'm in 4 trades already. My margin level is going down. I should not take another trade while I have this 4 open. If I want to take that trade, another trade, the trade that I have here with my highest profit, I'm going to close it. So it moves from my equity into my balance. And now I can take that new trade. So we more or less just recycling trades. If we do that, we're going to be on the safe side. Because I can tell you it's not a nice feeling to see you have $1,500 in profit. And all of a sudden, you just take one other trade, and that one trade you take made you lose all that $1,500 because your margin level would have fallen right down. And the brokers would take pleasure in having the system throw you out. And where does that money goes? All of us know where that money goes. It doesn't go in your account. So somebody else would have made that money for somebody else. And this is why I thought here, and Mr. Jack thought, since we start increasing the number of trades, it is a very good idea that we do some education also on management, trade management, because as we move forward from here, a lot more trades are going to be given. A lot of success can be an end result of those trades. But even though a lot of success, there are persons who are going to fail because they didn't quite understand proper trade management. So with this group here, the support that is given is a total support, not just for trading and making money, but proper management. Because to make it is one, and if you can't keep it when you make it here, if it just gets thrown out because you get so anxious, 10 trades and 10 of them going good, and I get into the 11th one, I get into the 12th one, I get into the 13th one. Because yes, you can have trades running at 0.02 or 0.03 or 0.01. And I think here's what my margin level is, like 700. I think I could throw in one, but not for the full 0.003, maybe for a 0.01 or whatever it is here. So we have to understand how the margin level affects the percentage or margin level, how it is affected by the lot size that we take whenever we do those trades. More question on the chat?
I have a question, not on the chat, but in voice.
Yeah, sure.
So you're explaining the margin level and the free margin. Can you just explain a little bit more as the difference between, well, the margin, the free margin, and the margin level? And I also want to ask you about the swap.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
because
Okay,
sometimes
good.
you would see a negative with the swap, like as negative 0.03 or 0.04. If you could explain that too.
Okay, sure. All right. So as politicians, when we are giving people an increase, we say, here's what. Today we have decided to give public servants a 40% increase on something. 40% sounds a lot. And if that 40% is $2, they wouldn't tell you they're giving you $2. So you could come and give big people $2. But on occasion, when the dollars sound a lot more than the percentage, they use the term interchangeably to achieve certain thing. So we have free margin and we have the margin level percentage. So your free margin here, if you look at my screen here, the free margin really is in dollars, right? So my balance is 79,765. The equity is 80,000 because I have a trade in that's $902. So my free margin is really that money that I have inside here, right? That's my free margin. However, the margin level you see here is 38,990% because I only just have 3 trades inside and having an account with almost $80,000 and I have 3 trades running at 1.5, 0.04, 0.02. So this is what gave me this margin level here. Imagine I was running that same 3 trades and instead of doing a 1.5, I did a 15, that margin level percentage would have been way lower than that. That free margin would have been the same because it considers my balance, my equity here for the margin level here. But the percentage is the allocation. All right, there may be better explanation, but I'm just talking on the top of my head here because had I known that I may have researched a lot more on that explanation here. But what I can tell you, what I do know is your free margin here is the monetary amount here that is free that you can actually use up here. But your margin level is what is determining here, the allocation that the broker or the account sets aside for every trade. And once this is done here, this is what works along with the account type you would have had set up in terms of your leverage from the broker. And every trade, so what affects the margin level is 1, the amount of trades, 2, the volume or the lot size. So the lot size, so you might do 10.02 and it wouldn't affect it as much as if you do 1.25 or whatever the case may be here. So your lot size is important as well as the number of trade. This is what determines your margin level percentage. So this is what is used when you set the account up, your leverage, your percentage leverage. You get 1 to 500% of what you have on it. This is what it is here. But again, as I made mention here, okay, and you're asking about the swap here. Good. So the brokers, once you enter a trade, we know there's a spread, the difference between the buy and the sell. So as soon as you enter the trade negative because the brokers take their money up front. So really and truly, you have a trade in for a 24-hour period. So you do a trade and your trade should hit its TP by then. But here's what, if you decide to be a long-term trader, trading for a day, 2 days, 5 days, a week, a month, your money is stored with the broker. The broker is charging you a fee to roll over your trade for the following day. And this is what's going to happen. So your swap here is really the fees that the broker is charging you to hold your trade. So for example, if you look at that trade I have down here, the one right below here for $20.49 here. Let's suppose that trade decide to run for 2 days. Even though it is valued at $20.49 now, you may see my balance. Okay, let me just rephrase this here. Perfect example I can give you here. The value of these 3 trades is $902.27. If I leave that trade running, let's suppose that trade was running for a week. So for the 5 days that the trade would have been rolling over, the broker is going to charge a price for holding it and a rate for holding it. So instead of seeing my balance here as 902, I know that's what it is here, it may be 875 because the broker is charging daily for holding your trades, rolling over your trades on other days. So that's what the swap is. So there are times you may see you have a trade and the swap might be 40 cents or 30 cents or whatever based on the value of the trade. So the longer you leave it, the brokers charge you a little interest on holding your trade for you. This is what the swap is about. So as you see the swap start going up here, it means that you have the trade going for some time and the brokers, they're taking a little interest because they're holding your money for you to roll over. All right. So the question I was asking here, what type of leverage do you recommend for opening a $100 account? For most of the accounts that I open for persons here, by default, I choose the 1 to 500. I don't know why. I just started doing that. The 1 to 500 because I would have had experience prior to doing an account, maybe 1 to 1,000, and then you realize in the event that things start going bad and the account is going to be blown, the 1 to 1,000 leaves you drier than the 1 to 500. Again, as I said, I don't think it is so important as to what account you have here. I think what is important is us learning the discipline, understanding here's what the market always there. I have to learn to know here's what I got in the trade here. I can exit the trade, and whatever I didn't do today, I can do it tomorrow. But I can take these amount of trades, and if new trades coming, I can say here's what. Even if this one didn't hit TP, I could close this one because you know what happens sometimes. There are some currency pairs it doesn't even make a sense trading. When you look at the exchange, you may make 20 pips on a currency pair, and that 20 pips doesn't do as much good to you as another currency pair that would have done 4 or 5 pips. So there are some trades, when you see them, you weigh the currency pair and know the value of the pips. And say, here's what, I could close off 4 of these trades and just take one of this other trade because of the pip value when it comes to trading that. So let's not focus much on the margin level in that sense here as to changing or upgrading our account to a different margin level. But what we should be mindful of, when we check, we put in trades, we should keep an eye on our margin level, the percentage of our margin level. And it's very important because as more trades come and the weeks keep going, more trades are going to be sent. And when these trades are sent, you don't want to lose. So you realize I have 5 trades or 6 trades, I do twin trades or maybe 4 trades on the same currency pair. And a new trade coming, I can close off 2 trades on that. And this is why I started off early. Even if you plan to do a 0.02 or 0.04, you can take 4.01. It is equivalent with the spread, whatever. You don't lose anything. What's going to happen with your one trade with the 0.04, when you decide to close that trade because it is not going in your favor, then you realize you would have lost more. But here's what. Even if you have 4 trades running at 0.01 and a new trade comes in, you can close off 2 of that trade and you still have 2 in the same currency pair running and still take another trade. So it's just about the management of it here. So is 0.01 for every $100 in your account a good way to start? And yes, this is what we have been advised. And we've been advised that way because taking into consideration the margin percentage here, that's why you're advised for every 100 you have, you should take 1.01. I mean, that is what is advised. And this is what we have to push forward. But even if I have a $100 account, I ain't taking no 0.01. I might take 2 or 3, but I'm watching my margin percentage. Why? Because I know this is what determines whether or not I can take more trades. But when you're learning, that's why you're being told, here's what, for every 100, just to be safe, take 1.01 trade here. But now that you understand what you need to be eyeing, I mean, there are times you don't give all the details. You're just told for every 100 you have, take 1 trade at that value. And you take 1 trade and you're waiting and you're waiting. You don't know why they told you that, but you just find, well, I don't have much money on the account, so I should take it here. But just to be safe, what they haven't told you is that what you need to be looking at is your margin percentage. So yes, you have $100. You can take 3, you can take 4.01 trade on that account. But you have to be mindful of as to looking at your margin level. So you realize, okay, you want to take another trade or the margin level is going down. I can close off 1 trade to get my margin level up. This is what is important. So it's not just sticking to just 1 trade, right? On that sense here. Yes, you can use a greater lot size, but the thing about it is learning the discipline, right? It's learning the discipline. So you don't have to stick to the 0.01, but what is going to happen when you have a $100 account and you do that, you go larger than that. Remember, even if you have $100 or 200 as you ask the question here, and you say I'm taking a 0.05, 50 cents, right? You're taking a 50 cents here. You can make more when you see your TP. You can also lose more when it goes to your stop loss. So your account is going to go down much faster in that light. But what is going to happen is that, okay, on your $200 account, you take a 0.01. you can take a longer or wider stop loss and recover. Because a lot of times, some people decide, here's what, I'm not trading with stop loss because stop loss makes me lose. And believe it or not, I mean, I sometimes trade without stop loss, and then, but most of the time I do trade with stop loss, because you're going to realize, here's what, there are times the market, like, it comes out for me. It just go and hit my stop loss. And as soon as it hit the stop loss, it changes direction and goes where it is. And you say, oh, I should have really moved my stop loss. If I didn't put a stop loss, I would have made money. I wouldn't have lost what I would have lost. And this is why, if you have $100 account and you do a 0.01, you can say, okay, I'm going to take a 30 pip stop loss. So 30 pip is not fine. That's $3. So you can handle that. But then you realize, here's what, is going above it here. Should I cut my loss with $3, or can I move my stop loss 5 more pips and maybe make it $3.50? And just the move you move it to that 5 more pip would put you in a good position. For example, one of the trades, I was in a trade yesterday. And on that trade, I realized, okay, where my stop loss was. And it was moving towards my stop loss. And then I realized, okay, with the analysis, it is going to go to that level and go back down. And that level was around 10 pips away from my stop loss. So should I risk losing that amount of money, or maybe just move my stop loss 10 pips, which is about $3 more than where it is, and then come back? And I moved my stop loss about 10 pips away. It reached about 5 pips below the stop loss, and then it changed direction and went back into profits. So I had the option, here's what, if I would have left it there, I would have lost that there. Because I have a little room for moving, I was able to move the stop loss and then make a recovery from this. But if you have $100 account and you decide to go to bigger lot size, then you don't have room for moving your stop loss. If you realize, here's what, the market is going to go in my favor, but the pullback is just a little more than I would have expected it to pull back. So there's a lot of things inside here in terms of getting the education. So it's not just putting a trade in. You see an alert come for a trade and just put in the trade. But this is why we thought it best now to do this level, this education, is so persons understand it is not just buying and selling, but it's a lot to do with the account management and understand the dynamics here. I can close some trades to get more leverage. I can do that, and sometimes, even if I know I get into the trade, you know, I can maybe move my stop loss 2 or 3 pips above the level, because most time when the trade come, persons put in their stop loss and they might realize, here's what, the stop loss is really wide. But stop loss again is not just saying, I want to raise $4 or $4.25. It is mathematically calculated. And this is why the trades that were given, the stop loss on them, none of the trades would have hit stop loss because the stop loss had a good margin. It was properly calculated, and this is why the trades were successful. But bearing in mind again, if you increase your lot size on a $100 account and you have it too big, when you lose, you're going to lose too much. You should not be losing more than $4 or $5 on a $100 account. To lose $5 on a $100 account at 0.01 here, $5 is quite a lot. It's a whole 50 pips you're talking about. All right. So we go back to you, Mr. Jack. Wallace, we go back to you. I think that was a lot here in terms of the account management here that we can do.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul. Great job. Great job. Persons on the call, I hope you all made sense of what Mr. Paul delivered here. I hope you made your note and so on. Is of leverage, you know, and so on. Paul was saying. So the is meant by. Let me just see. Rundown. Artwork already, right? Let's say you are in the housing sector. Let's say you live in the United States, right? And you go to the bank. You go to the bank for a house, right? The banks usually tell you come up with 20% of the money, which is, let's say the value of the house is like $100,000. The bank's come up with $20,000. What bank? And you get the house. And let's say, I'm just trying to show you the relationship between. So they give you pay your down payment of $20,000. You have your house, and the bank's gonna tell you no, within the space of a year. If the market goes up, you give me the difference. If the market goes down, you give me the difference, right? So like you have the 100,000 for the bank, whether the market goes up or comes down. That cannot change. That here is fixed, right? So you have a house. You have to go to the bank for money. The bank tell you to make a down payment of 20,000. You made the down payment of 20,000, then the bank give you the house. Right. Now, let's say the market went in a direction, it went up, right? 150%. 100% is $100,000. The market went up 150%. Thing nice. So I put it in green. So 150%, whether the market go up or go down, the banks don't care. You have 100,000 for them. So it went up. So the 150,000 you made from selling the house, the bank gonna take 100,000 for themselves. Now you have that in your pocket, a whole $50,000 you did not work for within a year. That's how they trap it in the United States. So when you hear the housing, when they're doing stocks and them kind of thing, and you hear housing crash and them kind of thing, people will be balling out because that's how they own houses up there. A down payment, you get the house. Within a specific period of time, the market go up, the market comes down, you're ready to sell or not, right? So that person would sell his or her home because market went up 150%. The bank takes it 100% and you have the 50% in your pocket. So you get through, you're nice. In the event now where the economy drop, let's say, you have a drop in housing. What happens? You still have 100,000 for the bank. So if the market falls 150%, you are in a bigger hole. You see that? Watch that. I put it in red. $150,000 red. You have 100,000 for the bank, which you don't have. So it's in red plus a whole 50,000 again. Watch that. A hole you're in. So I just drew up that to show you the relationship between this and leveraging. So the higher your leverage, 1 to 100. Picture it here. 1 to 500. Picture it in the relationship here. The higher your leverage, the way Mr. Paul made the scenario, the 1 to 1,000 will quicker dry your account. And that is so correct. The higher your leverage, you could end up in a situation in like how I draw here in housing for you. You could have 1 to 50, and in the United States of America, traders are advised to use the 1 to 50 leverage size. For me, I break that. I use in 1 to 100. But it is advised in the United States for traders. Usually brokers offer them 1 to 50, and you call the safe zone, the sweet spot for them traders there, right? I hope you understand what I just explained with the house and the banks. That's how it works. The higher your leverage size, the higher the faster your account is drained. Let me invite my personal secretary, Miss Bessie, to give you a rundown on our 3-week trading. Our 3-week trading achievement, gains and losses. Miss Leslie, are you on? Hey, baby. Okay, you could use me your laptop. Go. Sorry. Yeah. Wait, no, I see.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, one body.
Good night, Mr. Paul.
Good night, my lady. Can I make the announcement tonight too?
No, not yet, not
Okay. All right, go ahead.
yet. So, as a team, we have been trading for 3 weeks now. And I'm just going to give you a little rundown of the wins and the losses for the 3 weeks. The week of the 26th, the 25th to the 29th of May, we have 8 trades were sent out and all 8 trades PPP. A total of 374 pips minimum. The second week, that is the week from the 1st to the 5th or something like that. 11 trades were sent out and all 11 hits CP, a total of 502 pips minimum. And last week, a total of 24 trades were sent. All trades could have hit, but we were bleeding blue for a while and we went to sleep. And because of some news during the night while we were bleeding blue, the morning we got up, some of us were bleeding red. So out of the 24 trades, 16 trades hit TP. So we had 8 losses. So far, 43 trades were sent in total, 35 trades were winning trades and 8 trades were losing trades. So that's the little analysis for the 3 weeks so far. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, and I just want to comment here and that, you know, while it's for those trades, I mean, if you have 60 to 65% success is considered as a great trader, and this is way past 65%, is excellent. But this is why also I raised it, so the 8 losses here, persons would have experienced the 8 losses, but rightly said, the news would have changed the night. And if we realize and we keep following, if we know why we get into a trade, we can realize, here's what, I think we could get out of that because of what the market is like. But again, I must commend you, and I would say, I mean, that's greater than a great trader, to have that kind of percentage success. Even software, and so don't even give you that level of success. So I must commend you for that, and very grateful that now that the trades are coming in here and persons can actually see it. But also persons must also be mindful as to why you enter the trade. So if you know that, you can exit some of them before they would have hit the stop loss. And sometimes based on how the market goes. The 8 trades that didn't hit it, that hit the stop loss, I only had my stop loss hit 3 of those 8 trades. And I also made on that other 5 trades because I closed it off before it got to that level.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thank you. I appreciate that, you know. Other persons on the call, I just want to show you, you know, I try my best, to be honest with you. I try my best to get it right. And to be honest with you, it's out of my hand. You understand? The trading market is out of my hand. And I try my best to get it right. So I try my best to put the market in my hand. And you know, you can't get it right all the time. But at least I know when I get it wrong what was responsible. So let me just share my screen and show you something here. Let me just show you something here. You see this thing they call news, people? So if you're seeing my screen, Monday I sent out trades, and as Mr. Leslie said, week 1, week 2, wins all the way. Week 3, the Monday I start sending out trades. You see here, June 8th, Monday, people, you see this thing they call euro? We had some euro in the bag. But how it works with news, right? The red folder means high impact expected, or critical information. It's gonna send the candles crazy ASAP, right? And let me just give you a little note. Well, after news, the market is being, okay, news only affects the market for about an hour. So if news come out 9, by the time 10, a little after 10, the market should be on its way to settle, right? So we had some medium folder, you see medium impact expected, and some red folders. That was for the Monday. And Monday, you people. And for the, you see what what happened for the Wednesday here. But we still pull through, you see? So I gonna take a little blame for the little losses. You know, I ignored the news. I ignored the news and I put all my faith in the chats only. Had I come to that news here, I would not send out the trade the same time news coming out. Now,
Mr. Jack,
eh?
I think you're taking on something that you're not supposed to take on. You can't take the blame. And here's what, and this is why it's important. When the trades are sent out, you want to seasoned persons for them to decide whether or not they're taking the trade. It's always a risk. The market is not controlled by any one person. So there's always a risk when you get into the trade. So taking the trade that you give off, it's if you know why you're taking it, then you take it. But in the event the market turns, then you can't accept the blame otherwise. Again, losing is an integral part of trading. That's what it boils down to.
Yes, yes. So people, thanks again for that, Mr. Paul. Some people say they went and sleep heavy blue, Mr. Paul. And that was true. That was for the Thursday, around the Wednesday, Thursday, around there. They went and sleep, everything high blue, 5 something in blue. And look what happened, Mr. Paul. Watch that. From 1 a.m. From 1 a.m. in the morning, watch that news coming right down. Watch news. Watch that. So people, some people say they don't like to hold the news overnight. You know, I understand why. Because news does affect the outcome of your trade. You know, so despite what, we're still on the ball, we still have a high success rate than last, 35-8 according to Miss Leslie or something like that. So let's see how much we can gather come, well, I don't want to say next week because today done, the upcoming week, you know. So
additionally, Mr. Jack, just one thing I want to say here also. When we have to be mindful too of the trades that we take. So it is not a good idea to take a lot of trade on the same currency. So even if you have 10 trades sent out, yes, but let's suppose, okay, the 10 trades sent out, 6 of them is with the JPY, for example. And if you 2 trades or 3 trades per trade that comes out, and let's say you have 10 trades running and all 10 of them with the JPY, it's a dangerous trade to take, simply because if something happens and the JPY just, let's say, lose strength or gain strength, your trades will be affected at the same time. So it's a good idea to vary your currency pairs. Don't take all your trades with the same currency pair, because if something and the news comes out and that one currency is affected, so if you have your 10 trades running on the euro and some bad news come out on the euro, you realize all your trades going sour at the same time.
that is true. That is true. That is true. Well said. Well said. The floor is open for any.
Mr. Jack, because I'm giving you, I mean, the advantage that these people on this call here have is that all the mistakes, I mean, I've been in 12, maybe 15 years, and all my mistakes that I've been able to identify through IM, and so we're just sharing the mistakes, you know, which have caused the failure, and hoping that you never make those mistakes. So some of those things, just trust us, you know, in that sense that we're giving that here, because those are mistakes that were made. And we're just trying to avoid making the same mistake and avoid others also falling into that same pit which we have fallen to, now that we are getting out of it.
What's the question? Come next week, please God. We're gonna go a little deeper in terms of leveraging and so on, you know, because some persons made silly mistakes. One of my good partner, good partner, made a simple mistake, and watch, I taking it on more than him. The guy really believed he was betting 10 cents, and Mr. Paul, the guy Watch, when I'm telling you he was staunch. And all along the guy was bidding $10, you know. $10. That touched me because if you see the account was beautiful. That account was beautiful, and because of that one mistake, you know, of him thinking he was betting 10 cents and he was really betting $1, $10 as his lot size. One little pullback, you don't want to see what that did to his account. I'm just saying that people, please, 0.01 is 10 cents. 0.01. The point is always moved one place to the right. Always remember that. The point is moved always one place to the right. $1 is 0.1. So the point is moved one place to the right. $10 is 1.00. 1.00 is $10. Please, 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 don't make mistakes like that, because at the end of the day, you alone would feel it on your account, nobody else. With that said, I want to thank everybody for their time on this call. I hope what was done that...
Before you close, I just want to just share my screen for a second to explain something that somebody been asking, you know, to do something with trailing stop loss and so.
Okay, let me give you... All right, so your host.
Mr. Paul, just before you continue, I just want to, maybe you or Mr. Jack could kind of pay attention to the chat a little. I see somebody, I don't know if it's a glitch, but I'm seeing here someone is asking about any thoughts on deviation or slippage. So maybe someone can touch on that as well. I'm not sure if it's a glitch, but it seems to be reoccurring in the chat.
Yeah, well, so even while Mr. Jack was speaking here, I just Googled it, and at the end of here, I Googled the term deviation slippage to see exactly what it's about here. And it's my first encounter with the slippage aspect of it here. So I'm not in a position to really comment on what it is. I've seen what it is here on Google, so just not in a rude way, not in a way, but we can maybe just Google it and edify ourselves on that. But I haven't been exposed to the slippage aspect of it here. So really and truly, I don't know if Mr. Jack knows about it, but if he does, then he can touch it. But it's not something that I'm okay with to really make any comment on it. But I just wanted to share my screen for one thing here, because I
so
see
Mr.
that
Slippage?
Yeah, deviation and slippage.
And no deviation in terms of like standard deviation, but slippage, I really don't.
All right, so we have something to work on for the next thing. I can guarantee on our next call, we will be able to deal with that. You know, we'll be able to deal with that. But just briefly, somebody was asking here, and they were asking about stop loss here. So a good practice also is that when we're in a trade and the trade is in profit, based on the level at which it reaches, we can move our stop loss into profit area here. So let's suppose that this year, my screen here that's showing up here, let's suppose that we enter the trade right at that point here and we sold and the trade is down here. I can move my stop loss from above here now into break even. But leaving it in break even means that in the event the trade reverses, we lose everything, but we don't make a loss because we just break even. But the option we have, and in some trades, sometimes when you realize the market is really, really slow, instead of doing the stop loss, I do a trailing stop loss. So the question on the chat was asking about trailing stop loss on the various platforms. All of the platforms have the ability to do trading stop loss, trailing stop loss. So once the trade is activated, so let's take, for example, this trade is running here. All I do, I right click on the trade. That's MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, even if you're doing it in the web platform. It can be done on the mobile, but again, the mobile really is not ideal for that. The mobile more or less is just to watch a trade and to do that, maybe to put in a trade, but you don't have all the functionality. It is available on the mobile. So I just right click on the trade and I have the option of trailing stop loss. I can set my trailing stop loss to the various points that I want, or the pips that I want, 10 pips behind, 5 pips, 30 pips, or I can do a custom pip. and I specify a number that is not listed here. So if I want to do 12 pips, it's not listed there. So I go to custom and I can put in my pip value. So instead of keeping your stop loss fixed, because you may realize, here's what I'm into profit, I'm into $20 profit. And then I just leave the trade and I go and sleep and the news come and it goes all the way back in loss and hit my stop loss because I'm about to go up. So when you have trades running late and you realize, okay, fine, they're in profits already, but I'm not certain what's going to happen when I go to bed, we can switch from our fixed stop loss to a trailing stop loss. Because mind you, it is better to come off the market with $10 in a trade than to have $40 and when you wake up you realize it goes back and you lose $14, which your stop loss was. So when you are able to monitor your trade, it is far different. But at times when you're going to bed and you're not certain what the outcome is, you can do a trailing stop loss, especially when you're in good profits. So to do the trailing stop loss, you just right click on the trade, you go to trailing stop loss, and you calculate what it is like. So 15 pips. And once you do your trailing stop loss, then you don't need a TP again. And let's make that clear. So you have a TP, but once you decide to do a trailing stop loss, please remove your TP. You don't need a TP because then you realize, fine, I get into the trade up here at this point where my mouse is moving and I'm selling. My TP might be down here. But just before I go to bed, the trade is here. What I can do a trailing stop loss, let's say 15 pips behind, and I remove my TP. And look what happened when I went to bed here. Okay, fine, it would have hit my TP because it would have back up here. But let's suppose that this backup didn't go, this pullback didn't happen, and it just went all the way down here. It meant I would have had maybe 4, 5, about 6 times the TP I would have had. So trailing stop loss is ideal. It is good. Sometimes again, what would have happened if you had left your stop loss up here, even on the pullback, you wouldn't have gotten stomped out and it still continue going. So you have the two options of putting your stop loss to break even when you're in a good, relatively good profit, put it to break even and leave it, or you do a trailing stop loss. But once you do a trailing stop loss, remove your TP. So the trade just go on and on until it's ready to pull back, and it does that. And finally, again, to do the trailing stop loss, we right click on the trade, we go to trailing stop loss, and then we select how much pips we want our stop loss to be. That's it here. But on the next call, we have the deviation and thing would also on the slippage would be explained. I'm going to follow up on that tonight, and I'm going to do that here. But at the end of the day, we have any question, we can post it here, and that's how we all learn, and we are able to share with each other so that we can do that here. That's what it is. So from my end, again, thank you all and happy trading as the week comes and as the trades are being given. The onus is on you to take or not take the trades when the trades come up. That's what it is. Mr. Jack, please don't feel guilty if you would have had 8 trades out of 40 plus trades hitting red. Software don't even get as accurate as that. But again, as we grow, we help each other and we learn from each other, and that's what it's all about. So thank you again for the opportunity to be sharing with you. Back to you, Mr. Wallace, as you would have closed there. And I'm going to upload that video at the end because I'm recording on my computer, and we're going to send the link in the chat so that you can have that video here. Back to you, Mr. Jack.
All right. Thank you again, Mr. Paul, for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great job again. Thank you for your questions, and as Mr. Paul said, the question with slippage, it would be addressed in our next call. And if there's no other thing, I would like to wish my leaders, especially a special Sunday tomorrow. Please, God, I'll go to church. My leaders, put God first in everything, and all other things shall be added unto you. This is my words of comfort and, blessing to you for tomorrow, please, God. See you next week, and let's see how much pips we can collect. Blessed night, everybody. Sleep well.
Great call, great training, guys. Love it.
Very much. So. Thank you so much.
All right.
Good night, Mr. Paul. Good night, Wallace.
Hey, hello. Good night. How are you?
Well done. Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll organize and send the link for it. Once it's uploaded, send it in the chat group so we can download it. We can look at the videos after. So good night, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.